Good morning, everyone. My name is Erin, and this is World Spine Care Yoga Project's weekly chair classes. So what you're going to need is what I've got back here, which is a chair and some sort of rolled up towel or rolled up blanket as just an extra prop for support of the back and for sitting on. We're not going to use any sort of kind of a strap today, which we have in the past, but we are going to use those props. One other thing I'm just going to mention is if your chair has the slidey things on the bottom and you're on a slidey surface, so a non-carpeted surface, you may, if you've got something or another chair that's just doesn't have that slidey aspect, that would be great if you could have that. You can put a yoga mat underneath the chair if you've got a yoga mat. If not, then you could even practice on carpet. So that's fine as well. If you need to, I know sometimes there's different things going on with feet. If you need to practice in shoes, you can. If not, barefoot is great. One other thing for me, I know, just because I'm a little short-legged, I'm also going to have a book just to put under my foot at one point. So, just got a book here, and so that can just be down on the ground for when needed. So I'm going to get a little bit closer to you. You'll notice throughout the class that I will move my chair around. You do not have to. That's just me making sure that you're going to be able to see and understand what's going on. In our other classes, I mentioned the first time you sit down is one of those great opportunities to practice good sitting technique. So I'll just kind of show you. So having one leg go back until you can just feel the chair on your calf, on the back of your leg. I've got that foot pointed. Got a little bit of distance between my feet, so I'm working with a little bit more stability. And then the key here is I want to use the big muscle groups in the belly all the way around the torso and the thighs and the bum to help me sit, especially if I've got knee stuff going on or hip stuff going on. So one of the things you can do is think the bum goes back, the belly comes in for support. And one of the things you can do with that is make the sound of shh, just to remind these muscles to kind of come online a little bit more. So you can take a big breath in. Shh, bum goes back, my hands are there to guide me. And what I think about as I'm sitting back is I actually think about doing the opposite. So I actually think about my head going up at an angle. So those two things kind of counterbalance me as I go back. But the key is I'm looking for that angle and using these big muscles, and this big, huge muscle set to help guide me back to my chair. All right, so again, I'm moving my chair. You don't need to move your chair. It's just me getting a little closer to you. So we always start the class with some mindfulness technique, and we'll do that now. What I'm going to do is take that rolled up blanket, and I'm going to put it at the top of my low back. So what does that mean? So if you kind of feel your low back, you can feel where your back becomes your pelvis, and then it kind of goes up, and then you might be able to locate some of your ribs. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm going to scooch my bum back, and I'm going to support, not in the low curve of my back, that would be right around here, but up just a little bit higher at the top of that low back area and bottom of my mid back area or thoracic region. When we sit on a chair, and I'm going to just kind of work my bum back a little bit more, and that's to retain or maintain some of the natural curves of the spine, so that I'm not rounding out and I'm not overarching and sticking my bum out behind me. It's kind of a happy medium. When we sit on a chair, at the back of the chair, very often for people who are like me, I'm 5'4", not a lot of leg, my heels will not touch the ground. My toes do. That's perfectly fine. The one thing I see quite often when people are in chairs and doing chair yoga is they'll put a block underneath their foot, and it actually lifts the knee quite high. And what that does is, if you think when my knee lifts higher, that actually affects my pelvis, and my pelvis affects my back. So by lifting my knee higher, my my feet up, lifting my knee higher than the crease of my hip, I'm actually going to affect the tilt of my pelvis most likely, or at least the musculature that's kind of understanding how the body's supposed to be in space at that point. So I say, if you're just sitting with your bum at the back of the chair, if your heels are not on the ground, that's okay. If it doesn't feel fantastic to you, something small. So we don't want to put a full yoga block underneath the feet, lifting the knee higher than the crease of the hip. So that's just kind of thinking about that. And then I'm going to place my hands with my palms up on my knees, or my thighs rather. And then you can either close your eyes, or if you notice that makes your energy kind of bubble up, instead of closing the eyes, you can keep the eyes softly open. So it's a meditation technique that's been used for thousands of years. So you can keep your eyes open, just keep them focused on one spot. And I would say just not your screen. So something in front of you, you can keep the eyes open and focused, or you can close your eyes, your choice. And let's take a nice deep breath in through the nose, and a long breath out through the nose. Then just begin to notice all the sounds around you. So it's kind of like noticing your environment. The sounds outside of the room. And the sounds inside of the room. And every time you notice a sound, instead of kind of trying to figure out what it is or making a story around it, just notice it as sound. Hearing the sound and letting it go, waiting for the next sound to come in. And when your mind forgets that task, you'll just slowly bring it back to the sound again. And then let's bring our attention one step deeper, noticing our body. So what parts of your feet, or maybe it's your whole foot, who knows, is touching the ground? Are all of your toes touching the ground, or just some of your toes? Is all of the ball or heel of the foot touching the ground, or some? What do your hands feel like on your legs? What's the level of pressure? What's the temperature? Notice where your seat and legs touch your chair, where your back is touching your prop. Can you even notice the clothes on your body? And then slowly bring your attention to your breath. Where do you feel your breath first? When I mentioned breath, what did you think of or notice or feel? Can you notice what parts of your body move as you breathe? Notice if you're holding your belly tight and taut, And see if instead you can release the musculature of the belly a little bit more. Notice how that moves when you breathe. How deep down in your torso does it feel like your breath moves, or your body is moving because of your breath? Can you feel your breath in your back body? And then slowly start to name your breath in and out, or you could say inhale or exhale. You could also say breath, breath. It's your choice, whatever seems to resonate for you. And we're just going to stick with that for a while, naming that breath coming in and that breath coming out. If the mind ever forgets, all good. When you remember, you'll just bring it back to the naming of the breath in and out. Let's bring our mind back to that breath in and out again. And then slowly bringing your mind to your body. Your back supported by your prop, your bottom on your chair, your hands on your legs and your feet on the ground. And then bringing the attention again to all the sounds that create your soundscape, that create where you are. And let's take a nice big breath in together. And let that go. Allowing the eyes to gently flutter open. And just take a moment to notice. Notice how your energy feels. Notice how your body feels when you do that. We call it basic mindfulness technique. So I'm just going to slide back away from the camera a little bit so that you'll be able to see more of my body as we get into the physical things. You can stay just as you are. You know, and I say getting into the physical things, knowing that really yoga always comprises all elements of a continued mindfulness and also a awareness and use of the breath along with the physical. So it's always, you know, a lot of different elements that we're putting together that kind of are a bit unique to yoga itself. So we're going to stay at the back of the chair here. My rolls come unrolled. I'm going to roll it back up again, just for a moment. And I just want you to feel your breath into your back body, so into that prop behind you. So you don't change the shape of your spine, so to speak. So don't push into it. But I want you to really feel your breath in your back body. What does it mean to breathe into that low rib back area? Good. Another nice big breath there, in and out through the nose. So if you have a deviated septum, it might be difficult for you to breathe through your nose. So in that case, absolutely do what's best for you. If not, we use the nose partially because it's a great humidifier. Yeah, and so you'll get dried out if you open your mouth to do these breaths a lot more. Also, it's smaller holes, so the breath comes with a little bit longer. It's easier to make the breath longer. Good. One more nice big breath into those low ribs. Wonderful. And then I'm going to walk my bum forward and let the blanket just come down to the ground, or down to the bottom of the chair rather. And then you'll see, I'm going to just turn sideways so you can see. We're going to put the roll underneath our bum. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stagger my feet. One foot's going to go back, one foot's going to go forward. And you notice when I do that, hopefully I've got the light in the right spot. I'm trying to use a bit more lights for you guys. So if I put my knee down, you can see how this thigh goes at an angle. It's going to make it easier for me to get in and out of my seat. And we're not going to come all the way out of our seat yet, but that does make it a little bit easier for me to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to sit on top of my rolled blanket here. So sometimes we can easily just pitch the body forward on that nice long angle, remembering I'm thinking of my head going up at an angle toward the top of the room. So I can do that, and sometimes it's easy for us to press into our legs and lift up. Sometimes it takes a little bit of momentum. So one of the things that you can do is just rock forward one, and each time I'm thinking my belly comes in at the end of that rock, it's going to help support me. And then I'm just going to lift up enough to get my bum on top of my roll. So why are we using the roll? We're using the roll so that you can see my hip gets higher than my knees. This makes it a little bit easier to sit. It opens up a tiny bit of the area at the front of the hip, and it makes it so, as I was speaking about at the beginning of class, that I kind of relieve that tucking under of the pelvis that can happen when the knees come up. So you can see when my knee comes up, my pelvis wants to shift with it, which affects my back all the way up. So it actually affects all the way to my shoulders. So instead, if I get my bum a little bit higher than my knees, it's going to be quite simply more easeful, yeah, to sit tall. So I'm going to sit tall. Actually, I'll stay sideways for now. And we're just going to do a couple of things just to wake the body up. For me, it's the morning. It might not be wherever you are in the world or when you're watching this, but for me, it's the morning. So I'm feeling a little need for a little morning awareness. So I'm going to let my right ear go toward my right shoulder, and I'm just going to take a couple of breaths with the weight of my head drooping to the side. Good, and then I'm going to turn my chin toward my armpit, so I'm going to be looking right past my right armpit. And then very slowly I'm going to trace a line with my chin, very gently across, till I'm looking at my left armpit. Taking a nice big long breath. And then I'm going to turn my face in front of me so that I can feel a little bit of the side of my neck. And all of this is gentle. You can always also hold your head if you're feeling like one side doesn't feel so great and the other side feels super great. I'm a big fan, so we actually will take our left hand to our head and move it up. Throughout class, if you notice as we're coming through these movements that there are things that feel better and things that cause a greater level of discomfort, and especially if anything goes into a realm past discomfort into pain, what I always say is do less. As opposed to not doing anything, do less. So oftentimes it's the body saying, I would have loved it if you stopped about 3 steps before that or 1 step before that. And so really listening to that, that your body is basically requesting that you have, you just do a little bit less. So you're still finding movement in that area of the body, you're just doing it a little bit less. Good, and so here's one. So as we inhale, we're gonna lift our arms up. You're gonna see my arms go all the way up toward one another. That's not possible for all bodies, exhaling down. So instead, you could inhale and just lift them up a quarter of the way or a third of the way and then back down. Good, next time you could lift them forward a quarter of the way and then down. Good, up and then down. Good, and I'll show the version where my arms go all the way together and then down. Good, let's do another like that. Inhale up, whatever level your arms go up to. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Take the whole time to get there. Nice long breaths. Inhale up. And exhale down. Good. You can bring your hands to your legs, and we're going to do a couple of cat-cows. So as you inhale, you're going to think of your elbows coming in towards your sides and wrapping in towards your back a little bit, just finding a little extra awareness across the front of the chest. We always want to find the movement of the head going back, that you never hang it entirely. Instead, always space in the back of the neck, and you're just opening up the throat a little bit, yeah? So we're gonna inhale, the hands will come next to the hips, elbows are coming together, puffing the chest up, and then exhale nice and slow, a little bit of a rounding. So your rounding might be really small or it might be really big. Inhaling, puffing the chest up, finding that wrap of the elbows back, and then exhale, the elbows open up, the tips of the fingers come to the knees. Good. Inhaling. Arching, exhaling, rounding. And I want you to continue this motion and really notice if there's parts of the back that feel like they move a little bit more than others. There will be places where you just notice movement more than others. There's also a lot of curves in the back, so there's all these fun optical illusions about where mobility comes from, or is more, or how it works. What I want you to, instead of that, is just feel internally. Is my low back moving, my mid back moving, my upper back moving, my upper back, my mid back, my low back? What does that feel like? Just continuing that motion. If you notice that there's a spot that you that kind of feels like nothing's happening, so I have spots in my back where I just don't have any awareness of where that spot is, I'm just going to, for a moment, take my finger to that part of my back and just feel the skin there. So if it's a part you can't reach, there's nothing you can do there. But I'm just going to feel that little area, put a little awareness there, and then I'm going to come back to my cat-cows. Inhaling, arching. And exhaling, rounding. Inhaling, arching. And exhaling, rounding. Good, and then coming to a neutral spine. I definitely feel my body a bit more awake. And now we're going to do an energizing breath today. So we haven't done something like that in these classes yet. And it's called skull shining breath or Kapalbhati breath. And it's, when we do it, I think of it as, you know, when you blow your nose, you don't think about how you're going to breathe back in. So it's just a short, sharp exhale. If you are stuffed up or not feeling well in any way, you might want to have a tissue nearby, or just skip this part and just instead take nice long deep breaths. Also, as we do this, if it doesn't serve you, if it's not something that you want to be doing, instead just take nice, long, deep breaths in and out through the nose. So what we're going to do is I'm going to bring my hands out to the side so it'll look like this. I'm peeling my fingers in to make this kind of a gesture with my hands. And my hands are just below shoulder height. They can also be above shoulder height. It's just a bit more accessible if they're lower. So this tends to be a bit harder than if we're down. And then I'm turned to the side still because I want you to see as I'm exhaling, all I'm thinking about is pushing air out with my belly. So I'm going to go, and I'm not even worrying about the inhale. The inhale is just going to happen. You don't have to drag that breath in. It's just going to be a reaction that the body does. We're essentially asking the breath mechanism to do the opposite thing it naturally does. So there's kind of a way to wake up some of the diaphragm, but also some of these secondary muscles of breathing. So, it's a great way to get energy moving in the body. So I'm going to take a big, normal, full breath in, and exhale, the hands will come down. Then I'm going to breathe about halfway in, find my gesture. Good, and just exhales through the nose. You can change the speed. Good, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a breath in. Exhale all the air out. And just pause and observe. Good, and we'll do another round of that. So inhaling a nice long breath, exhaling, the hands will come down. Inhaling, coming up into the mudra or the gesture here, and then exhales through the nose, just thinking about that exhale. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breath in. And exhale, let the arms come down, wait, and just observe. Great, we'll do one more round. Inhale, breath in, and exhale, let that breath out. Inhale, come into your gesture. Good, and exhale. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then exhale and observe. Great, and then open the eyes if they're closed. I feel a lot more awake, I don't know about you. So we're just going to do one more kind of movement in the torso. So we're going to do a side-to-side movement. This is another one where the arm can go all the way overhead if that's available to you. If not, the arm can go out to the side or just keep the hand at the chest. So I'll show with the arm overhead, and once in a while I'll show with the arm down. You don't have to change with me. It's just me showing you the different kind of ways that we can do this. So the arm goes up in whatever capacity is available to you. And what we want to think about is becoming long on that side that the arm is up. And then we're going to slowly tip to the side in the opposite direction. Breath in. And exhale, come back to center. Switching, breath in. And come back to center. Other side, breath in. And come back to center. Good, other side. And I'm bringing my hand down to my chair or my prop next to me, just to support so that I'm not having to do it 100% with my musculature of my body. So you can choose, if you don't put any hand on the chair, you'll be using more of the musculature of the body, but that might not be what's appropriate for your body. So just here, that if you want, you can have the hand down on the chair and that hand can help you. Good, keeping going back and forth. Breath in as you go sideways. Exhale as you come up. Inhale sideways. And exhale up. Good. One more inhale. Exhale. Good. Inhale. And exhale. And if the pacing of the breath that I'm offering needs to be a little longer or a little shorter for you, always change to what works for you naturally. All right. So we're just going to just heel toe the feet a little wider. And we haven't really woken up the ankles yet, but we're going to kind of do two things at once. So on our inhale, we're going to very slowly lift our heels off the ground. So we're in this goddess pose with the knees wide. And then on our exhale, slowly send the heels down to the ground. Good. Inhale, slowly rise up onto the toes. Good. And exhale, slowly bring them back down. Notice if you can't see your feet or your feet are hard to see because your knees are in the way, we want to get the knees to be out. So that means I've got to activate the back of my bum to make that happen. So that's why it's kind of two things at once. So inhaling, lifting up, and exhaling, the heels are going to slowly come back down. And I'm engaging the back of my bum and hips to try to spread my knees wide. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Good. Let's do 3 more of those. So you're going to really feel that. As the bum is working, or the abductors are working, the things that take the legs away from the center line of the body. Good. If you're on your third, this is the last one. Great. And then heel toe the feet in and just give them a little bit of a pat. Great. And then we're going to heel toe back into that goddess pose. And you're going to do that same thing. I want to be able to just glance down. So not lean forward, but just glance down, and I should be able to see the inside of my foot. So the inside portion of my foot. And then from there, what I'm going to do is, as I exhale this time, remember how when we sit in and out of the chair, we just, nice long torso, we just pitch the torso forward a little bit. I'm going to do that and press down into my feet. Your bum might just become light in the chair. It might come off the chair a little bit. Either one is perfectly fine. So we're just waking up the legs in a nice gentle manner. If sitting on your prop isn't serving you for this one, and you can absolutely come off of it. Nice big breath in. And then exhale, press down into those legs. Good. And we're trying to keep the knees apart. So notice if the knees come in, we're trying to keep the knees apart. Good. Exhale, release the bum back down. Good. Take a big inhale. Exhale, press down into the feet. Inhale, release back down. Exhale, press down into the feet. Inhale, back down. Good, and this time we're going to try to hold for 3 breaths. So we're going to keep breathing, but we're going to stay with the feet pressing down. So big inhale. Exhale, press down into the feet. Good, inhale here. Exhale here, keep pressing down into the feet. Inhale here. Exhale here. Last one, you can always settle back down. And exhale, the bum comes back down. Good, heel toe the feet in. And you can give the bum a little bit of a pat. Great. So I'm going to come into, today we're going to explore what it's like to do a warrior series, seated and then standing. So just to feel how those two different ways of doing similar movements can happen in and around the chair. So I'm going to come off of my towel. So I'm just going to kind of one cheek at a time, remove that. I'm going to put mine to the side. The key is if you put yours to the side and bending down and grabbing something off the ground is a very complicated motion for you, yeah, or it's something that you kind of avoid doing, make sure to put it up higher. So maybe on a dresser or on a couch or on a table, just so it's easier for you to get afterwards without having to bend down and grab something off the ground. If you do end up bending down and grabbing it off the ground, the key is the same thing as sitting. I want my bum to go back and my belly to go in. I can trail my hands down my legs to do that as support, but essentially this is using a nice structure of the body with those big muscles working really hard, so that I'm not rounding my back and straightening my legs or rounding my back to try to get something off the ground. Instead, I'm going to kind of walk my body down toward the ground. I can even put an elbow on a knee to place something down on the ground, and then I can walk back up, and I'm going to use those belly muscles as support. So it's just what works best for you. So for now, we're just going to clear it out of the way. So we're sitting on our chair. You've got your book handy just in case you need it. And what we're going to do first is we're going to just kind of reposition our body. So I'm going to turn sideways in my chair. And I'm going to slide my bum toward the side of the chair. And I'm using the support of the back of the chair to help me with balance. I'm going to put the book underneath my foot just because it's quite a bit off the ground now. And I am actually going to use my feet on the ground. So different than when we sat in basic meditation. Instead, I'm using my foot on the ground, and I'm actually going to be pressing down into that foot. So I do want it to be solidly on the ground here. And then my left leg, so this is my right leg. So that's how I'm going to speak. So my right leg is supported by that book. And then I'm going to walk my left leg out until it can be straight. So it's going to be kind of at an angle off to the side. So yes, when you see this pose sometimes with people who are crazy flexy, their foot is way behind them like that. But even for my hip, that doesn't feel so fantastic. So instead, it's okay that the foot is slightly forward. We're supported by the chair, so we're well supported there. My foot that's on my book, I'm pressing down into that foot so I can feel my toes spread. And then from there, one arm's going to go forward and one arm's going to go back. And now we find ourselves in Warrior Two. So nice little shimmy shake in the shoulders. I'm going to lift up into my belly. Good. Press down into my feet and feel my legs activate. And then the key is I'm breathing and I'm being mindfully aware of my body and space, of all those different elements of lifting into the belly, feeling the feet active on the ground, my leg nice and supported. Nice long breaths. You can bring your gaze to your front middle finger, softening the gaze on that front middle finger. One more breath in here. And a long breath out. My back hand can come to my waist or down a little bit further to the crease between my leg and my pelvis. I'm going to turn my front palm up toward the sky, and I'm going to slowly just lift. As I'm lifting that arm up, you'll notice my body also starts to tilt. So it's not just that my arm is going up. I'm actually tilting my body and opening up this front side of my body a little bit more, extending it, let's say. And then depending on what's going on with your arms, you could leave the arm just like that, or you could start to bring it up toward the ceiling in a reverse warrior. Nice big breath in. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And you'll notice I've got that sound of the ocean, or that fogging up of the window kind of sound in my throat, and that's Ujjayi Pranayama, and it's a technique that allows you to elongate the breath. And it's interesting, it calms your nervous system and elongates the breath, as well as it balances the nervous system, because you're kind of evening out the inhale and the exhale. So it's calming as you exhale, and it's excitatory as you inhale. Good. Exhale, that hand is going to come down to the front leg, so it can rest on that front leg, and then the back hand could come hand to chest, or it could come up at an angle, so straight out. Or you might find if you turn your palm in toward your body and you bring the inside of your arm toward your face, so not behind you but toward your face, that might feel nice. You can also bring your elbow down to that front knee. So you might bring your hand down to the front leg, or you might bring your forearm down to that front leg. So nice big breath in. So this is one variation. This is another variation. You don't need to move, I'm just showing. Good, one more breath. Exhale, slowly come back to center. So now, as we come out of this pose, first thing I'm going to do is bring my hand to the back of the chair for support. Then I'm going to bend my leg that was out straight, and I'm going to heel toe that foot in and walk it all the way around. Good. You can take your foot off your book for a moment and kind of move it around so it'll be for the other side. And let's just take a little twist here in our seat while we're here. So now I've scooched my bum, so my whole bum is on the bottom of the chair. And I'm just going to turn toward the back of the chair. So my left arm is going to cross my body to the top back of the chair. And my right arm is going to come down to the bottom back of the chair. So it ends up looking like that. And just a couple of breaths there. Another breath in, nice and tall. And exhale, slowly coming back. Good. So you're sitting sideways on your chair. And then one of the great ways to move from one side of the chair to the other is to just find a little hitch in your get-up, so a little bit of a dance around. Okay. And then we'll do the other side. So as I've danced around to this side, I'm going to again move my bum so that the back of my bum is at the side of the seat. And then I'm going to just scooch a little bit toward the front of the chair so that this right bum is just starting to come off the chair. Just a little bit. I'm going to put a book underneath my left foot just because it's easier for me. And then I'm going to heel toe that right foot out until the leg can be straight. So it might be pretty straight out to the side. It might be slightly behind you. It's what makes it available for you. Okay. So once you feel nice and solid and that you can actually press down into both feet and really activate those legs and find a little bit of external rotation in the legs, then you're going to find your arms forward and back. The gaze can come to that front middle finger. And you're going to think of getting nice and long in the side waist, so from your rib cage down to your pelvis. You're going to think of getting nice and long in your low back as well, and you're going to feel a lift in that front body. Nice long breath in. And a long breath out. My feet are active on the ground and my legs are active. I just noticed that my right leg was getting lazy. That was my straight leg. So I'm going to activate that leg again. Good. Take another breath in. And as you exhale, imagine that breath going down through your shoulders and out your fingertips. The back hand is going to come to the waist or just at the point where the leg and the pelvis meet, either or. I'm going to turn the front palm up toward the sky, and I'm going to start to tilt my body kind of to the side. And then maybe I'll keep my arm just as it is, or maybe I'll start to lift it up toward the sky. Making sure that the legs are nice and active and my breath is long and even. Good. One more breath in. Exhale, that hand is going to turn down, and then it can come to the front leg. You might bend the elbow a little bit. This back hand may come to the chest, or you might turn the palm in toward yourself, straighten the arm, and bring the inside of that arm toward the side of the face. Okay, so I'll show a couple of different versions. You could come down to the forearm on the thigh, and you're thinking of becoming long on this whole right side waist. Good, staying where you are and what's working for you. Understanding that if discomfort has come in, just do less. So just lean to the side less, maybe bring the arm down, but still breathe and just be that slight off center. That can be plenty. Good, another breath in wherever you are. And exhale, slowly, slowly making your way back up to center. First thing we do is bring our hand to the back of the chair just to help remind us to lean toward that back side. I'm going to bend the leg that's out and straight and heel toe the foot around. You can remove the book. And then my right hand is going to go to the top back of the chair. My left hand is going to go to the bottom back of the chair. And a couple of breaths here in a gentle twist. Good. Exhale, slowly come back to center. We're going to dance our bums around back to center. And then, so you don't need to move your chair, we're just going to come out of the chair and we're going to do that same sequence standing. So, great opportunity again to figure out how to get in and out of the chair. The right toe is going to go back for me, just because it's easier for me to show you, so whatever works for you. That lets that knee drip down toward the ground a little bit, just a little bit. And then let's do kind of a half sun salutation to get out of the chair. So we'll inhale, the arms go up as much as works for you. Exhale, the arms down. Good. Inhale, my arms are going to sweep up. My head is heading toward that top corner of the room as though I'm going to take a full step forward. Exhale, come back down. So I kind of always think that it's like taking that step forward. Great. I'm just going to check on my time. Okay, cool. So we're going to do that warrior sequence standing, just as another way in which to do it. So I've got my chair at the back of the chair, and I'm standing at the back of my chair. I've got a little bit of a distance between me and the back of the chair, but not a lot. So I've got just a little bit of space there. I've got space in between my feet to help with my stability and balance. I'm going to take an inhale here. And then I'm going to exhale, and I'm going to think my bum goes back, my belly comes in. I'm going to extend for me. It's going to be my left leg's going to go back 1, 2, 3. Everybody's steps are going to be different. And then I'm going to turn the heel down. I'm going to look back at this front knee, And I'm going to make sure that it hasn't gone toward the inside of my foot. So I'm going to try to make sure that my knee and shin are lined up right over my foot, just like if I walked. So what I mean by that, if you kind of see, is it's not turning in, so that as I'm at the back of the chair, my knee's not coming in. Yeah? So I'm going to work the musculature that actually really helps with knee health rather, and low back health, and that's in that outer bum. And so I'm going to work those muscles a little bit harder to keep that knee over the middle of the foot. It's not that you can never move your knee like that. You can. It's meant to do that. We're just going to work on that because it's a good distribution of load, and load is like how much you weigh. So we've done that. We've got our back foot back, the heels turned down. I've got my hand on the front of the chair, or the back of the chair rather, and then my back hand is going to go behind me. So already I'm in warrior two, and we've done this one before. If you are feeling stable or you want to play with balance work, you can start to take the hand off the back of the chair. You might even extend that arm forward, but it's not necessary. So the chair's there for a reason. So nice long breaths. Good. Exhale. You're going to bring the back hand to your waist, or again, that crease a little bit lower. And then key here is I can keep my hand on the chair, so you do not need to lift the hand up. And instead, I'm going to think that this front side of my body, so front side, is going to start to open up toward the sky a little bit. So I'm going to extend it just a little bit, and it's just a small amount of sensation. If you're feeling okay with balance, you might lift the hand off the chair, but keep it near the chair. If you're feeling very solid with your balance, you might lift that hand up toward the sky. So it's all your choice. Good, one more breath in. And out, exhale, coming back to center. So we're not spending too much time here because we're asking a bit of the legs here. Check back in with the knee to see where it is, in or out. And then we're going to come into extended side angle. So now I'm going to slide my forearm to the back of my chair. My back hand, again, can come to the chest. Maybe it'll go up toward the sky, or maybe it'll start to come across the side of the face. So it's your choice. Inhaling here. Exhaling here. Inhaling here. Exhale here. Good, one more inhale. And exhale, come back to center, so kind of more upright. Now I'm going to turn my body toward my chair. My back heel is going to turn off the ground. I can bend that back leg. I'm going to lean my torso forward. I'm going to walk in a little bit more, until I feel stable and can stand at the back of my chair. And we're just going to stand at the back of the chair for a moment and just take a full breath. Notice how one side of your body might feel different from the other side of your body. Good. And then you can keep your chair exactly where it is. I'm just going to bring mine over just so that I'm not turning my back on you. Okay, great. So same thing, a little bit of distance between me and the back of the chair, but not a lot. I've got space between my feet, and I'm feeling a little buoyancy in my knees. And take a breath in. Exhale, my belly's going to come in. My bum is going to go back, and it's my right leg this time that's going to walk back, 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 or the opposite, depending on what you did. Turning the back heel down, and I'm going to take a peek at that front knee. So I'm just going to notice, where is it in relation to my foot? I find support in my belly and length in my side waist. And I'm thinking of actually relaxing my low back. So I'm not sticking my bum out behind me. I'm thinking of kind of relaxing my low back and letting my front body kind of lift up a little bit more. Just seeing how that feels. And then the back arm will come behind you for warrior two. You might start to play with balance of lifting the front arm off the chair. Nice long breaths in and out through the nose. Or again, through the mouth if you have a deviated septum or anything going on there with the nose. So always know there's another option. Good. Take another breath in here and imagine that you could push down into your feet and almost think of them that they could come toward one another. Check back in with that front knee and see if you can get that outer bum to move the leg to the outside, to the left. Good. Exhale, bring the back hand to the waist or just below. The top hand, or front hand rather, the left hand is going to stay on the back of the chair for support. And then you're going to think, I'm trying to get longer, just slightly longer, between my front hip point and my armpit. Maybe I'll start to play with lifting the hand off the chair. If you do not feel stable, absolutely not necessary. Good, another breath in here. Exhale, come up to center. And now it's the forearm that's going to come down onto the chair. Check in with that front knee. So I noticed mine started to kind of come in. It's because I'm trying to turn my body to the side. And really what I need to do is use those muscles on the outer bum to keep that leg where it is. If I start to change the twist in my torso, that's one thing. But my hips are only going to have so much ability to move sideways. So then the back hand can stay at the waist. It might come to the chest. It might go to the sky. All of these are just options. I might turn the palm in and bring the inside of the arm to my face. Good, another breath here. Good, one more breath. And use the exhale to come back to center. Turn both of the arms toward the back of the chair. Let the back heel come off. I'm going to let my torso come forward, wrap up into my belly, and then walk the back foot in, until I feel stable enough to stand. And again, just standing in Tadasana or mountain pose, just for a moment. There's a little buoyancy in the knees, but I'm breathing into my whole torso, just feeling how my body has, worked with those movements and that breath. Great. So you're just gonna we're gonna come back to sit on the chair in a moment. So if you want to grab your roll, again, if it's come down to the ground, same as we often do, lift up into the belly, the bum is going to go back, and I might start to walk down my thighs a little bit for help as I start to reach toward whatever I'm reaching on the ground, or if you put it on a higher surface, even better. I'll just place that on my chair for now, and we'll do a half sun salute to come back down. So just measuring where you are in relation to your chair. I always just feel it with the back of my calf, so that way I know where my chair is going to be. I step into Tadasana, space in between my feet. Inhale the arms up as far as your arms go. Exhale down. Good. Inhale up. That one foot's going to go back. Exhale, bum goes back, belly comes in, my hands come back to my chair to guide me as I sit. Great. So for this pose, before we kind of take our mindfulness at the end of class, we're just going to do a seated pigeon. So I find this is easier if I'm seated up on something. So again, one foot can go back, one can go forward. A little 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 to get a little something under my bum. And then I'm going to stay sideways just so you can see me a bit easier. So one of the things that can be difficult about this pose is we just kind of sometimes don't give our body enough room to do it. So lifting the bum up will help. And then the other thing is I'm going to heel toe my left foot forward. So if you see here, my left leg is going to go forward a little bit. Okay. And then it's from there that I'm going to start to lift my right knee up a little. And I'm going to externally rotate that leg and place my ankle over my thigh. By keeping this foot further away, I can even make it further. This leg is down. Yeah, so you'll kind of see that from this angle as well. Yeah, so it makes it a little bit easier for me to get my ankle over my thigh is what I'm hoping for. And then maybe I'll start to walk the foot back a little bit. We'll just see. And then I'm just going to rest my right arm on that leg, and I can always hold on to the shin of this leg. Good, and I'm just going to find a couple of breaths. If you want to add very gentle pressure down with the right hand, that's the same as making the figure 4, then you're welcome to. Just a couple of breaths there. If you feel that you have quite a range of motion here and there's not a lot of sensation and you want to increase sensation, then the other thing you can do is start to lean the body forward. Now, when we lean the body forward, it's that same lean that we've been doing throughout class. I'm thinking of my whole torso as a package, and I'm leaning that whole torso forward as opposed to just my shoulders forward and my head. Nice long inhales and exhales. Notice if anything's holding against what you're doing, and either try doing less or try letting that tension go. So it's one or the other. Sometimes it's not always trying to let the tension go. Sometimes the tension's there because the body's saying, can you do a little less right now? Good. If you slid the bottom foot in, we're going to slide it back out again. And that should make it a little easier to slide the figure 4 leg off. That was my right leg. Good. And then here for the left leg, we'll slide the right leg out. I've got mine almost straight. It makes it a lot easier for me to lift the leg up. I'm going to bring my hands to my left leg, helping it come up. Then it's going to externally rotate. I'm going to very gently hold on to my shin, placing my ankle over my thigh, and then I'm going to kind of walk my foot back in. So you may keep yours reasonably straight. Left hand can rest on the leg. Maybe there's a little pressure there, or there might be a slight lean forward of the whole torso. Good, nice long exhale. If you're leaning forward, come back to being straight up. Scooching that right leg forward so it's easier to get the left leg off. Good. Then I'm just going to wiggle my bum off of my prop, and I'm going to send my bum toward the back of my chair and lift my prop up for support. Here, I'll come a little closer again to you guys for this ending sequence. Good. So we can just take a couple of just very gentle reminders. We don't need to hold any tension around the shoulder and the neck, so just very gentle half circles with the head. And then slowly floating the head back up. A little shimmy shake in the shoulders. And we're going to end class today with a mindfulness technique that we call love and peace. So you'll hear in my instruction, there's lots of options essentially for you, for what you want to concentrate on. This is also an opportunity for those who believe in prayer and who have a religious practice. This is also an opportunity for you. And there are options for kind of everybody. And the key is the sense. So whatever that sense is that cultivates love and peace within you, those are the things that we're going to bring our mind to. So our imaginative space, those are the places we're going to invite in. So hands can be on the legs, palms up. You're nice and supported with your prop behind you. And the eyes can be closed or focused on a singular spot. And at first, let's again just notice the sounds of our environment, our internal and external environment, and the soundscape it creates. And then noticing your body, your feet on the ground, your hands on your legs, your bottom on the chair, your back supported. And then bringing our attention to our breath. Noticing its gentle and natural rise and fall. And then what I'd love for you to do is bring to mind a person, place, or object, or something beyond that realm that cultivates a sensation of love and peace within you. So when you picture this thing or think of this someone, your immediate sense of your body and sense of yourself is that of love and peace. If it helps to bring a hand or two hands to the center of the chest, absolutely you can do that. And just bringing the mind back to that thing, person, place, sense, smell, whatever it may be, that elicits a deep, visceral, so physical sense of love and peace. And if the mind forgets, you'll just bring it slowly back to that thing. if the mind has drifted away, bringing it back again to that sense, person, place, thing, or beyond that lets you rest in love and peace. And breathing that in again. And then slowly letting the concentration on that thing go. Becoming aware again of your breath. And the sensations of your body. And then the sounds around you. And then slowly opening your eyes. Wonderful. Thank you everyone for joining me this morning. I hope your day is beautiful. If it's not the morning for you, if it's the evening, I hope your evening is wonderful for you. You can find this class, or later today you'll be able to find this class and all of the classes we've been offering on our YouTube channel, which you'll be able to find through our Facebook page. And we are offering classes also in Spanish. So Letizia, who's one of my the team members for World Spine Care Yoga Project, is a Spanish speaker, first language Spanish speaker. So she's offering classes similar to these in Spanish. So if you know anyone who is either not on Facebook or a Spanish speaker, just know that we have options for both of those things through YouTube. And I thank you. I hope you have a beautiful day.